Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Think Tank Sports. Think Tank Sports, where we think and you listen. Check us out on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and the IG, and listen to us on Spotify for podcasters or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We are out there on many of the platforms for you to indulge in your listening pleasure. That is Think Tank Sports. And watch us, of course, on YouTube as we continue to give you and provide you with video content meaning me and Mike sitting at our desks in our houses doing podcasts. Anyways, so we're here, we're going to talk some Yankee baseball, which I don't even know who I was saying it to. Not going to be a happy podcast today, but then, maybe things are starting to look up a little bit for the Yankees here. We'll see. But of course, it's me and it's Mike. So Mike is on the other side of the invisible or actual wall. Mike, how the heck are you?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing today?
Good.
Good. Up until first pitch, we're recording today on Wednesday.
Yep.
With the day game with the Twins, and the Yankees, bats came alive today. But I was even thinking, like I said, I was logging on. This is going to be, a more animated podcast about the Yankees until the bats woke up today. But still, before we get into all that, buddy, we do have a Twitter poll out there now.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking Yankees baseball today, but the NFL draft is this week. And so I just quickly put out there, how many quarterbacks do we think are going to get taken in the first round? Most gambling sites have 4.5 as the over under. So you can bet over or under. Not really great odds or payoffs either way.
First round. I might take the under on that.
So I put 3, 4, 5 or too many. And early on the voting, 4 has 50% of the vote and 5 has 50% of the vote. So
and did we hear from Mr. Mark Dodds saying none of the above? I haven't seen that yet. Not yet?
Not yet.
I'm sure it's coming.
Mr. Brendan Burke did chime in on Facebook and say 5. So
okay,
he add that to the tally on the Twitter poll. But check it out. Comment, interact with us, please. React to me. Rancho Cucamonga, react to me. That's an old Jim Rome.
Cucamonga. Ooh, throwing on
some
Jim Rome in there
before he got nationally syndicated. Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, we've talked about this before. That is one of my favorite sports TV moments of all time. Yeah. Jim Everett, also not Chris Everett. Jim Everett, her brother, probably not. Choking him, and then he pushed him, and you see his feet go flying, he gets behind the desk. If you guys haven't seen that, I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Oh, sure.
Search up Jim Rome, Jim Everett. Oh my, yes. Jim Everett, the former LA Rams quarterback, did not care
before
for
St. Louis.
Yes, before St. Louis. Yes, crazy times there. But anyways, we're talking baseball. I thought.
Yeah, no, we've
been all football here the last few minutes.
Draft recap next week coming.
Yes.
Boy, the Yankees, last podcast we did, buddy, was pretty positive, and we were, things are good, and it's early, and
hadn't lost a series.
They're a little sluggish, but they're going to be okay. And guess what?
No,
the bats have just gone dormant over the last 2 series. They lose a series to the Blue Jays, and then are going to lose this series to the Twins unless they score 1,000 runs in this game. And Major League Baseball makes some new rule, which they're prone to do lately.
Yeah, and runs scored in those games, Mike. 1, 3, 1, 1, 2.
Great point.
Not
losing 10-9.
Not getting it done there. 3 games with 1 run. 1 game with 2 and 1 game with 3. So we're happy today as the Yankees sit with 11 runs in this series finale against the Twins. But yeah, Mike, the bats have just gone away, hidden.
I hate to couch every conversation we have through the lens of the pitch clock. But again, I got to think that when your bats are dormant and then there's a certain pace to the game where you can't step out and you can't, you know, catch your breath, and things are, you've seen the replacements when Keanu Reeves is talking about quicksand and how
Yes.
things start to go wrong and all of a sudden you can't get yourself out of it.
Mm.
And baseball, that didn't happen a ton unless you were really, really struggling mechanically, because you could step out and collect yourself mentally and all that.
Right.
So you get on a negative streak and it just probably feels like it's overwhelming, and players will adjust, pitchers will adjust, everybody will adjust, but just one more unintended consequence of the pitch clock that I think we, years from now, we might be talking about. That being said, the injuries obviously don't help, Dave, and we're not going to lean on that as an excuse. But hitting is contagious. That's been a rule, and it's been a thing in baseball for 150 plus years, and we're seeing it contagious on the negative end here, buddy. What do you see? Do you see anything in particular, or just kind of everyone's got their own scuffles going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of got their own scuffles.
That's fair.
I think, there was one, I'm trying to think, one of the games where was like 10 or 11 strikeouts and no walks.
Right.
But then you have Aaron Judge coming out the other day and saying we need to be more aggressive and, get at teams early. Today. Right. Yeah. And so you see that, but some of the effect of that can be more strikeouts because you're just being more aggressive. So I'd like to see more walks and, some more runners on base, obviously. So then, and Aaron Boone said this the other day, we got to get some crooked numbers up there. And of course they do, right. But potentially a little more patience at the plate. You look at, let's see, what the
patience
heck
at the
happened?
Plate is fine while you're looking up whatever it is you're looking up.
But it was Friday's game.
Okay. 6-1.
Yeah, 7 strikeouts, only 2 walks. I like to see the walks, the on base percentage, and obviously hits are nice too. But
sure,
when you only get 5 hits, you got to try to, string some consistent at bats together. Which Aaron Boone said yesterday baseball. They had a little bit better with that.
Just modern baseball, it's a home run, strikeout, really not a lot in between, although it's shifting obviously with the rule changes and the roster construction as it is currently for the Yankees, but still. And then you play a team like the Blue Jays, and they are all young, free swingers. So when they're hitting and when they're making contact, it's a sight to see, and it's relentless. Blue Jays problem is, it seems like with the Yankees right now, when they go cold, they all go cold. Aside from really Springer, he's the really most consistent player when he's healthy for them, as far as at the plate. But everyone else, I just feel like if you don't make a mistake, which is easy for me to say,
sure,
you can get them free swinging a little bit, and the Yankees probably see that, and that's an exciting brand of ball. And I understand why Judge is saying that. And even today, we saw in today's game, again, not to harp on the most current situation, but they did come out and swing the bats early, and then that enabled them, in today's game, it was 5-1. Cabrera bunted a runner from first to second, but bad throw down the right field line. Now you got second and third and nobody. And that's just the kind of, and because of it was a good bunt and great speed, that's the kind of thing Yankees haven't had the last couple of years. So, and then, we got a big shot by Rizzo, and it turned into, a 2-run tack on, which, the Yankees need at this point. So,
yeah. And I think it's
more aggressive. Yes.
Yeah. And I think it's okay to talk about the game that's on right now, because we haven't had anything else to talk about as far as the Yankees offense goes,
Positively, right.
It's been a real struggle. So it's nice again to see them, start to turn this around. They're going to go, we talked about this, last time, that after this, they go to Texas for 4 games, and, the Rangers are playing really good baseball right now. And, those games aren't going to be easy. So we need to get wins wherever we can get them. And, Tampa is just crushing everybody right now. And so the Yankees they need to get some wins. I think, we've talked the last time, the bullpen, we're not crazy about it.
No, they're holding their own. Peralta's, turned in from the poo-poo platter to a weapon. So we like to see that. Kane, Holmes, they're okay right now. A lot of these other guys, it's hit and miss. Weiser, he would come in and look dominant, and then all of a sudden that slider would be spinning over the middle of the plate and get crushed, and he got sent down.
Yeah, and they
probably
bring
just needed a fresh arm.
Yeah, Nick Ramirez comes up, 33-year-old. He's been around a bit. And he comes up and does all right. He's a couple seasons with Detroit, and then hasn't pitched in 2 years, but last in 2021 with San Diego. But he comes in and pitches 2 innings and walks 2 guys, but only gives up a hit and no runs in yesterday's game. So
the guy that's killing them is Marinaccio. He just hasn't been the same control wise, and that's really affected his ability to get people out. A couple of times this year, he's come in with runners on and given them up. And it counts against the starter or whoever he replaced, but still, those are the hidden things inside a baseball game that a box score won't tell you. Now, Garrett Cole, his last start, that Saturday against Toronto.
Yeah, the game that they won.
For many ways, Dave, this game was more impressive to me than the previous 2 in which he was dominant. Now, don't get me wrong. He was dominant in those games, and when he's on and pitching like that, it's almost easy. He gets in a rhythm, and he's got easy heat on the fastball, and, anybody, I guess, could pitch when everything's lined up and working right like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I liked was this Saturday, he, 5.2 innings. He gave up 4 hits, only 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, but he battled. He didn't have his great stuff. His slider just wasn't biting at all. So he put it, they decided not to call that a lot early. And, he just battled and battled. And that's what an ace is supposed to do. You win when you don't have your best stuff. And so even though Marinaccio did come in and blow the lead, and then the Yankees ended up winning it late, but still Cole, his outing set the tone for that game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I give him a lot of credit for that win, in addition to the previous 2 dominant starts.
Yeah, and that game was crazy because it was scoreless until the bottom of the 8th inning. I mean, it was cruising along. Right. I looked down at my phone. I was like, what the heck? This game is flying along, as they all are these days. But I'm like, how the heck are we in the 7th inning already? I look up and there's not a lot of hits, and, Cole's pitching. I'm like, oh, it's going to be a game with no run support. And, and then they get 2 runs in the 8th, and Toronto comes back with 2 in the 9th. And, and then they get a run in the bottom of the 9th to win. Thank goodness. As far as that goes, to get a win.
Quicker games have been nice with the basketball playoffs. It seems to sync up nicely. Mm-hmm. And I know that's another unintentional consequence, but you can watch, most of the 4th quarter of a playoff game with these
right after baseball is done.
Right. And then catch the beginning of the late game. And if you're not old and decrepit like me, you can stay up that late. But I digress. So the Twins, Dave, so we agree. We know the American League East is a problem, right? We knew that coming into the season. The Rays are just running away. We're 7 games back. That's not terrible in April. Obviously, it's early. The problem is, you don't want to chase all year. So you need to really, this win every other and now starting to lose series. Obviously, we need to reverse that for many reasons. But the fact that the Rays are off to such a great start also is a huge factor in why we need to start picking it up right away. And then obviously Toronto's going to be there all year. We know Baltimore, they look like they're going to be around all season as long as they stay healthy, although they're very young. and certainly could regress, and then the last place Sox are still in the league. But really the American League East, apologies to Mr. Tom Roach, since we're shouting everybody else out today.
No apologies.
Okay, no apologies, but
at least not from me anyways. You can apologize if you'd like.
No, you're right. I don't apologize, but still love you, buddy.
Yeah.
So, the Yankees need to pick it up a notch. So, and reinforcements are coming. I heard today Canely and Loizaga throwing bullpens and, are really ramping it up. Still a couple weeks, but, the beginning of what should be a return for them.
Right. Rodon is looking much better. The back issues that he experienced in his last
minor
outing is, CT scan, everything's fine. His arm is fine and has been for even longer. So, we're good there. Severino had a good, 2-inning, I forget what they called it.
Extended spring training,
2+ or some, I don't know, some terminology that they need to have. And so he has pitched well. So, if we can get some of the starters back and get a little more length,
so
out
they
of the
come
starters,
back. Schmidt and Herman are too obvious to come out of the rotation, right?
I mean, I would think Schmidt is out.
He's out.
Completely gone. I mean, he's just not been good.
And then Herman will turn into long relief, which will extend, all of the bullpen. So you'll lose one of these guys we're not too familiar with, like Cordero
or Ramirez that they just brought up. Yeah.
Right,
one of those back end guys, or not back end, middle relief, is just going to go bye-bye. And Harrison Bader is going up to AAA.
Right. Great.
So he looks good. He's healthy. They just want to get him, enough innings so he feels comfortable playing back-to-back games. So reinforcements.
So then you'll get IKF back into the infield. Although he's played a serviceable center field.
He has made a good play the other night with a nice dive in center.
Donaldson being out, it would be nice to just LeMahieu to either get a DH day, especially with Stanton out, not clogging up that DH spot.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm a Stanton fan, so, I say clogging up, meaning, there's no flexibility.
Right. The advantage when he's hurt is that they can adjust the lineup a little bit more.
Right. So,
you'd want to see what, LeMahieu at third, or you want to see IKF at third, or a combination?
Just mix it up with the young guys so they can get LeMahieu off his feet a little. I think I'm not a pro, as I hate the scheduled rest, and when a guy's hot, they sit him down and all that. But LeMahieu's proved the last few years he's a big body, plays hard. He's going to need some extra breaks, I think that's okay.
And then probably Peraza ends up going back down.
I would think, just to keep him playing, Volpe obviously is going to play shortstop as long as he wants. I think. He's starting to hit the ball.
He's starting to hit,
well,
which is nice, and he's leading off. So if he starts to hit, we talked, as Mike said, hitting is contagious. Volpe had a couple of hits today. If he starts getting going, then the rest of the lineup will feed off of that. And that will get the Yankees in a little bit better spot. Mike, you mentioned Tampa. So the Yankees have this series with Texas, 4 games, then 3 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at home for Cleveland, a day off, and then 3 at Tampa. So these next 2 series, you really would like to see the Yankees, is it too much to ask? 3 out of 4 against Texas, 2 out of 3 against Cleveland? No, not necessarily, but you want to see them get, win 2 series to be going into Tampa and not be, more than 7 games out. I mean, that's a lot for April. I mean, it's a lot of ground to make up. And sure, they have plenty of games with Tampa, but
no,
you don't want to be 8 games out and have to sweep and then still be 5 games out.
Right.
So that's challenging.
So when we last spoke, I said there's 10 games left in the month, and I asked you how many you would be happy winning. You said 6, and I agreed. I said, maybe 5 if we had a break go the wrong way. Well, guess what? We got to
We've got,
sweep the Rangers to get to 5.
yeah.
Assuming today's win is in the bag. Oh no,
No, sweep them to
today's
get to
win's in the
6.
bag. We have to get to 6.
Yep.
Right.
So likely
Interesting.
not. I mean, certainly,
Right.
look, the Yankees are capable. They certainly could do that. But that feels like a big lift, as they would say, right? To go into Texas and
Right.
win 4 games. Now,
Especially at the end of April.
yeah, and there'll be a healthy dose of Yankees fans there. There always are.
Sure.
But that place is going to be, they're going to be raving lunatics. You got 3 night games, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then a day game Sunday. So
Right.
those Texas fans, I don't know if my cousin still has tickets. He had season tickets the last few years, couple rows up from the outfield in the right field.
Mhm.
I don't know if he still has tickets or not. Steve, my cousin's name is Steve.
Okay.
I have to check on that. I
Check on
usually
that.
see
Okay.
pictures of them at the games. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Looks like a fun
Yankees,
park to go to.
yeah, absolutely. And
For sure.
Yankees, they got to do better, right? We just got to do better
At the plate, for sure. Got to do better, but the opportunity is there. So, am I going to get on them and freak out and jump up and down? Well, no, my jumping days are long over. However,
but you could shake your fist in
I
anger.
could, but no, it's not that. It's April, Dave. We're okay. I would say that the sphincter level 1 to 10 is still only at like a 4. Like, I'm not totally excited about the injuries, and Judge took a hard slide into third, tried to steal third, and they had just watered the infield during the half inning break, and just biffed hard at third, and his shoulder and his hand got a little jammed. He was shaking it pretty good, but stayed in the game, and it looks like he's all right. But keep an eye on that.
Yeah,
And if he goes
3
down,
for 4 on his birthday.
Right.
Today.
Right. So obviously having a big day, but
yes.
yeah. How about you? What say you about the sphincter level of your New York Yankees as we speak?
You said yours is at a 4?
4, yeah, and it would be less except for the injuries, and it's a razor's edge, now.
Yeah. Let's not sphincter and razor's edge though. That sounds.
Oh yeah, let's not combine those.
That's a slice of dice we don't want. I'm gonna say 3. But I'm wavering towards 4, and it's only because of Tampa's hot start.
Fair enough.
If Tampa was, like around where Baltimore is,
Human.
like 15-8,
Right.
And the Yankees were, 2.5, 3 games back, I wouldn't be as worried. So I'm 3 there, teetering on 4, because it is still early.
Okay. That's fair. No, I think that's good. Wonderful. Anything else with your New York Yankees here and my New York Yankees as we
no, I don't think so.
Here? What are your thoughts on the Twins as far as are they better, worse, or what you thought they were going to be at the first 20, 25 games of the season?
What I thought they were going to be. Well, I guess they're about there. Looking at our over-unders at the beginning of the year, Minnesota was 84.5. I think we both thought they would be up above that and being close to at the top of the division. So I would say they are who we thought they were.
Okay, that's fair. I think
we could let them off the hook though. That would be fine too.
I'm fine. For me, the eyeball test is they're a little bit better than I thought they were going to. Just a little bit. I don't think they're, a World Series contender. I certainly don't have the pitching for that. But their offense is a little bit better than, without Gary Sanchez in the middle.
The donut in the middle.
The donut. And it was Jesus Aguilar they had for years. But anyway, a lot of strikeouts with those two.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like their lineup. Buxton, I think he's an all-world talent with a horrible injury history. So if he's healthy, the rest of that lineup, They got a little bit of starting pitching. The back end of the bullpen's good, but the middle of the bullpen, not so much. So I just they're a little bit better when you look at their division, Dave. I mean, Guardian, they're the only ones above 500. Guardians are 11-13, Tigers 9-13. The Chicago White Sox at 7-17.
Yeah, that's stunning to me that they are that
7
bad.
games out and 10 games below 500.
Yeah.
That's nuts, right?
Yeah.
With that roster,
yeah, they were. Oh, the White Sox. Yeah, well, 83.5 was their over under to start the year. I mean, they're going to be hard pressed to get to that at this point.
Think about last year or I guess it was 2 years ago now, when they hit that home run to beat us in the corn in Iowa.
Yeah.
That team was destined for a deep playoff run.
Yep.
And they have just, since that moment, which was probably the highest moment they've had since winning the World Series.
Yeah, pretty close to it. Yeah, that was like late July, early August. Yeah, the World Series was 2005 because they did Red Sox in 2004 and White Sox in 2005.
Right. So, it's been almost 20 years, 18 years since they've had a real highlight. And they really thought that was going to be a launching pad, not only because of that game, but the roster and where, the flex, they thought young talent, they thought Mokata and Jimenez and Abreu, all these guys were just going to turn into special players. And turns out they got a bunch of stiff first base DH types.
Stiffs, there it is.
Yeah, the stiffs. So probably won't talk much about the White Sox the rest of the season unless craziness happens with Methuselah retired and the rest of the roster withering. I just shocked.
Yeah.
Anybody else in the major leagues on the bottom side of things? We're going to get to our power rankings.
It's got to be the Cardinals, Mike, at 9-15.
Yes.
I mean, that has got to be probably more of a stunner than the White Sox, honestly. To be that bad, and at a time when the Pirates, we'll talk about, I mean, the Pirates are 16-8, the Brewers are 15-9, the Cubs are 13-9. So the Cardinals at 9-15 are in the last
rebuilding
place.
Cubs, everyone retired. The Pirates are young and supposed to be terrible.
Yeah.
The Brewers, we thought were going to be the class of the division, but we certainly didn't expect this from the Cardinals, like you said.
No, 88.5 was their over under.
I think I probably took over if I had to guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, at 9-15,
they got some playing to do.
Yeah, they got some playing to do.
Yeah.
Now, I did see, it's funny. So the Pirates are leading the division. I did see a meme that was like the Pirates division lead, and it showed like all the other teams, like policemen holding like battering rams to go through a door. And then they showed the picture of the door, and there was like a little Cheeto going through holding the lock, and it was like Pittsburgh Pirates division lead.
Yeah, that's true, but still it's fun. Good for them. Yeah, good for McCutcheon and all those guys. So let's get right to let's get to the power rankings.
Yeah, let's get to the power rankings. Yes, this will be our first power rankings of the year.
I asked Dave yesterday if we thought it was too early, but he made a good point. In first month in, let's take a first blush. Last year, Dave, if you remember, we went down to 10 in the power rankings. We only did 5 today, correct?
Yes, only 5 today.
Yeah, but going forward, we should go to 10 because we get into a mode where the top 5 are about the same teams, give or take a position change. So it'd be good to talk about more teams going forward. So who do you have at 5, buddy?
At 5, I have your Baltimore Orioles, Mike.
Wow.
15-8. They are 8-2 in their last 10. They're actually winning today, so they could be going to 16-8. They are American League wise 5th in average at 253. Their pitching is of these top 5 is arguably the worst. They're number 10 in the American League at ERA at 4.25. But you can't discount the fact that there they are in second place in the American League East.
Well, I don't have them in my top five, buddy.
Okay. Who do you have at 5, Mike?
Well, just as far as your Orioles go,
Yeah.
their competition so far this year have been the
Light.
A's,
Yep.
the Detroit Tigers, I see here, the White Sox, we aforementioned, and the Nationals. Those are the 4 teams they play. So let's not crown them yet. You can crown their asses if you want to.
Okay. This, yeah, what's maybe not just yet, but you know.
At number 5, I have your New York Mets.
Oh, the New York Mets.
I hate to do it. 14-10. They're really, Alonso's off to a great start. Marte's healthy. Lindor's picked it up. McNeil's been awesome.
Verlander's supposed to be back next week for his first start.
Scherzer's getting rest early for his suspension. So
right. You know, for sweat and rosin.
Honestly, though, they've kind of weathered that storm. You know, with Verlander and Scherzer being out early. Now, late in the season, different story. But
we'll see.
So number 5 is
the New York Metropolitans. So Mike, who do you have at 4?
Number 4, probably no shock to you or anybody that's listened the past few years, my Milwaukee Brewers at number 4 at 15-9. They played the Tigers, Angels, Rockies, and Giants. So not exactly murderer's row either, but
not even close, actually. Not exactly, not even close.
But
okay,
gotta bank those easy wins. I love their lineup, and of course their pitching, I think, is just their starters are tremendous. So Milwaukee Brewers at number 4 for everybody.
Okay, for me, Mike, at number 4, the Pittsburgh Pirates. As we just talked about, 16-8, 8-2 in their last 10, plus 24 run differential. Not great, but they are doing well. So National League, they are 6th in average at 253 and 4th in ERA, which I think is what is really helping them, is 3.77. So again, you talked about their schedule and such, but hey, no, that was the Orioles you were talking about. But either way, you know, kudos to Pittsburgh for getting off to a good start. We have seen them do this a couple of times over the last 10 years.
Oh, sure.
Not quite this good. And then they end up in last place by the end of the year. So
well,
it'd be nice to see them.
What did you think of the O'Neill Cruz injury? We didn't do a podcast that
week.
We didn't. I thought it was a bad slide by him, if I'm being on. If you know, when we break it all down, I was going to do a longer thing on it. But bottom line is, it was just an unfortunate situation. He made, I thought, a tough slide, and he broke his ankle. It sucks.
Right. Got his ankle in bad position and just
A lot of people want to blame that catcher as the backup for the White Sox, but you know, it was just one of those baseball plays. You know.
Yep.
All right, who do you have at? Where are we? 4 or 3?
At 3.
Yeah.
This might surprise you a little bit, Mike. At 3, I have the Texas Rangers.
That's not a surprise.
14.
Because I have them at 3 as well.
14-9. I think what really surprised me, Mike, is well, their run differential, for one, is second best in all of baseball at plus 58. You know, so some of the pitchers they brought in are helping. It will be interesting just to point out that it will be Garrett Cole versus Andrew Heaney tomorrow in Texas. We'll see Andrew Heaney, and I would expect the Yankees to tee off on him. Anyways, number 2 in the American League in batting average at 260, and number 5 in ERA at 3.6. So keeping it steady on both the pitching and the hitting. Very good start for Texas. You know, we've mentioned the Bruce Bochy factor, and I think you have to believe that he's making a big impact on the team and getting them in good place. Now, Corey Seager got hurt. You know, that's gonna be problematic for a bit, but they seem to be doing fine right now.
No, I couldn't echo what you said anymore. I was bullish on them before the season, and turns out it looks like I'm right. So you're welcome. Uh, Number
So
two, Dave,
yes.
we talked about this team off air, and your boy had some attitude for you, and so do I. The Houston Astros, I'm putting it too, buddy. First of all, I said at the end of last season, they're our daddy as far as Yankee fans go until we can beat them. We just have to admit that. But they're on a roll, dude. They started brutal, absolutely brutal. But they've won 9 of their last 13. 2 of 3 from the Blue Jays. Then they swept the Braves. Those are, we talked about opponents for these other teams. Those are
Yeah.
2 very quality teams that are right outside my top 5, and certainly were considered. So
Yeah, and they beat Tampa
right. So
last night 5-0
right. So
at Tampa Bay.
I hate it. Don't get me wrong. I hate it. But
Oh
the
yeah.
Houston Astros are still right up there in the upper echelon of this league and are going to be an issue. Where do you have it to, buddy?
The Houston Astros do not appear in Dave's top 5 this week. And we'll just leave it there. Number 2, I have the Atlanta Braves, Mike, at 16-8. They have, done a really, really good job to start out the year, particularly on the road, Mike, 10-2 in their 12 their 12 road games. Yeah, my math is okay. Sure it is. Number 5 in the National League and hitting at 258 and leading the National League in ERA at 3.35. Your Atlanta Braves, Mike, at number 2.
Yeah, there's something about them I can't put my finger on. I don't like, Dave.
Yes, because I'm feeling they are not in your top 5.
Oh no, they would probably be 6. I mean, it was them or the Mets, 5 or 5 and 6 either way. Yeah, their record's a little better, but I don't feel like they've played much of anybody at all either. I didn't write down their opponents, but I just obviously Spencer Strider is all worlds, ace, number 1 guy. The rest of their staff, the rest of their bulk, I don't know. There's something about them that just does not feel like a vintage Braves team to me. And as I watch them more, I'll quantify it, through the season here. But that's kind of why I gave the Mets the nod in the top 5. But you having them at 2, I don't have a problem with that either. They're playing that well, and they certainly have the history and all the potential to be there all season. So.
Yep. Let's
number 1,
see. They did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They had won 8 in a row. Was 3 over the Reds, 3 over the Royals, and 2 against the Padres. But then, as you mentioned, the sweep at the hands of the Astros.
right.
So they've played
Right.
2
So that
series
kind of
with the
hurt 'em this week.
Padres and
Yeah.
the series with the Astros so far, and so
Yeah.
ho hum as
Yeah,
far as
I
the
agree.
schedule goes there.
And then Naho hum, we've talked about them already. The Tampa Rays, right?
Yes.
Are number 1 at 20-4. You said they're losing right now as well. Did you say that, or they play later today?
They play later tonight.
Okay.
No, it was the Orioles that are ahead right now, 6-2, top 9.
Give us a Yankee update if you're on
Yankees update. It's a final, Mike.
We got a final.
12-6. The
All right.
Yankees, Domingo Germán gets the win despite giving up all 6 runs.
Did he go complete game?
No, 6 innings.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
Well,
So
good.
6 innings for Germán. We'll take that.
Yeah.
2 innings, 2 innings for Ian Hamilton, and then Clay Holmes came in for an inning. So that's good. Yeah, 9 pitches, 7 strikes, as far as that goes. But yeah, Tampa and Houston, again in Tampa tonight, as far as that goes. But yeah, Tampa, Mike, stats are what they are, but I just find just fascinating. So Tampa leads the league in both hitting and ERA. This is in the American League, but their ERA also leads overall. They are hitting 282 as a team, and their team ERA is 2.82.
Oh, wow.
How crazy is that?
Wow, that is an oddity for sure.
And if you want to hit up even more of the eights, their run differential is 88.
Wow. Also strange.
And they got 20 wins.
Go play those 8s and 2s.
Twos and eights for Tampa, that's for sure. But
however that works.
Yeah, 20-4. They're just 14-1 at home. You know, they've had the streak of, you know, I think maybe it's gone now, but yeah, it is, because they got shut out last night. They had homered in 21 or 22 games to start the year. You know, the 13-0 start. I mean, they've done everything that the fact that they're hitting 282 really says something for their offense, because typically that team average wise does not hit well.
No, I agree. Another statistical anomaly we had earlier, a couple weeks ago now, on the 9th of April, the Seattle Mariners and the Cleveland Guardians got together and they had a little 12-inning clash that the Guardians won 7-6. And what's odd about that game? The Seattle Mariners had, Dave, count them, 3 blown saves in the game. 3 BSs in the game.
Ouch.
Someone named Brash came in and gave up 2 home runs right away, blew a save, and then they blew it in the 10th and the 11th.
Oh,
yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, ouch. That's a weird one. You don't.
Yeah, there's a number you don't want to have to, a stat you don't want to have multiple numbers next to.
Speaking of the Guardians, did you want to get into any of the long-haired freaky people controversy with the Guardians bat boy, or you want to stay away from that?
No, the long-haired freaky people need not apply here.
Okay. And then we had an issue at Marlins Park early in the season as well. They decided when they were playing Philly, they had a $1 hot dog night. And as you can imagine, people went nuts on the $1 hot dogs, and it turned into a massive food fight. Now, saying massive and Marlins crowds probably aren't synonymous, but on dollar hot dog night, it got a little crazy. Massive food fight. Also with concessions, and we briefly talked about this or mentioned it last week. Beer sales with the pitch clock, Dave, have taken a hit in ballparks because most parks were cutting people off in the 7th inning. But guess what? The 7th inning comes a lot quicker right now. And a lot of places have eliminated the cutoff altogether. Some of the local governments are having issue with that. And, you know, we still want to stop drunk driving for sure. And my feeling is if people want to get drunk and drive, they're going to get drunk and be stupid. You stopping to sell beer only protects you, which I get, but they're going to get, you know, so drunk driving is still going to happen. They're still going to try and make some money out of this, but again, another unintended consequence of the pitch clock. Beer sales across the league are struggling. Now, some might say because of the new Bud Light sponsor, but again, another topic we won't get into.
For another day. I do want to go back to your Marlins Park fiasco and
was
just
it at
say,
Philly?
No. I just was going to say, so people were throwing their wieners around.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. And on that note, clunk.
The double
that sound that you
show.
just heard was the ratings and the end of Think Tank Sports podcast as we know it.
Well, we can join your boy Don Lemon and
and the other guy
Tucker Carlson on the unemployment line.
Yeah, be careful. There's firings left and right across all aspects of media. ESPN with layoffs, The
If
big
a
name
gay black
ones.
guy can't get a job at CNN, the world has gone wrong, Dave. I'm just saying. What's happening? He needs to roll in there with a wheelchair. That's the only other thing he could do.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm sitting in a wheelchair, folks, so
Yes.
I have license to make that joke.
Yes, license to drive that vehicle.
I lost my legs for the joke.
Oh, geez. Wow.
I have one leg.
Think Tank Sports, where we come off the tracks very easily. But yeah, so hopefully outside of some of the nonsense we just spewed at you, you've enjoyed our baseball chatter today with a little football mixed in at the beginning. Some jokes along the way, funny or not, depending on your opinion on that. But continue to follow us and listen to us there on social media, all the usual spots, and listen to us on Spotify for podcasters or wherever you listen, and watch us on YouTube as we continue our journey here at Think Tank Sports, where we think and you listen as we strive for 5.